Hello YTPC, Parsimonious Piper. Today we've got a VR to the Victorian Piper's request that we tell him one of our favorite Victorian era characters. And so I've got one for you today, a little unusual. But first, let's light up. Today I've got a squat Rhodesian, pipe by Lee, and in it I've got some pirate cake. Gotta love a lat bomb. So on this side of the pond, the Victorian era produced a number of very interesting American figures. The best known would be statesmen like Lincoln, Grant, Sherman. The one I'm looking at today is none of those. He is, in fact, someone whose life almost exactly overlapped the Victorian era. Try this again. His name was Dwight Lyman Moody, and he was an American preacher and evangelist who was born in 1837 at the beginning of Victoria's reign, died in 1899, just a couple of years before her death. So his life almost exactly overlapped her reign. Now, he had a great impact on the church both in America and abroad, and is known for having founded what are now known as the Moody Church and Moody Bible Institute up in Chicago. The latter of which is focused on preparing people for Christian ministry and is ongoing. Both well known within evangelical circles. Outside of that, even Christians have very often not heard of D.L. Moody, as he's better known. Now, Moody was not formally educated in theology, but his preaching was, it carried such power and weight that when he toured the UK in the 1870s, the great English preacher and theologian Charles Spurgeon, who was a brilliant scholar and theologian, invited him to fill his pulpit, which was quite an honor. Now, Moody, on both sides or both continents, both sides of the ocean, drew crowds well in excess of 10,000. He was quite a dynamic preacher. His popularity in Europe was such that even though he never visited Scandinavia, the Swedes translated and published both his books and transcripts of his sermons in what was known as the Moody Fever of the late 1870s, going into around 1880. As far as I'm concerned, the biggest long-lasting impact that Moody had was an incredible insight into human nature and the church, and he had just some fantastic quotes and bits in both his books and his sermons on the proper focus of Christians and of the church. I'll share a few of them here with you. See if we can keep that lit. And the insights that he had really are timeless, because things that he said all the way back in the 1800s could very well have been said by somebody today, describing the church. So, for example, in a world filled with prosperity preachers, where we're told to name it and claim it, Moody said, "Before we pray that God would fill us, I believe we ought to pray him to empty us." doesn't exactly go with what we popularly hear. Now, in today's church, particularly in America, there's a lot of focus and a lot of praise goes to individuals with public performance talents, whether they're mostly musical, quite frankly, but there's a lot of focus on those kinds of abilities. And Moody said, there are many of us that are willing to do great things for the Lord, but few of us are willing to do the little things. At a time when we all claim to be really busy, there's so much that fills our lives. Moody said, so few grow because so few study. In an age of moral relativism, he said, cling to the whole Bible, not part of it. A man is not going to do much with a broken sword. Even then, people liked to gloss over or ignore the difficult parts of the Bible or the things that go against our modern sensibilities. As with so many other things, he was spot on. Yeah, I could go on for hours. His insights were truly deep and timeless, and really relates to the church, particularly in America, as it tries to modernize to stay relevant into today's culture. One of my favorites along that vein, let me read it to you. A great many think that we need new measures, new churches, new organs, new choirs, and all these new things. That's not what the Church of God needs today. It is the old power that the apostles had. If we have that in our churches, there will be new life. Hard to believe that was spoken of the church in the 1800s. If you were to replace organs and choirs with drums and guitars and praise teams, he could be discussing the internal struggle in many churches today as they try to modernize their worship services. Now, there's nothing wrong. Don't mishear me. There's nothing wrong with modernizing your worship service. I'm all for it. In fact, I'm a musician. I love playing new things. I love some of the old, but I love new music. But the truth is that if that's all we have, if that's where our focus is on making things just appeal on the outside to people, if our focus is not on Christ and what we're doing isn't powered by His Spirit, then all we're doing is a good performance. People can go to a concert and get that. The church, to be relevant, needs to be the church, not a concert, not just a performance. We need to be doing things that actually impact people's lives. And Moody saw that to a greater extent than many people of his day and many people of ours. So if you have any real interest in church history or in how the church and Christianity are relevant to our world today, I really recommend that you go out and find a copy of one of his books, his sermon transcripts. Many of them are available online. You can find them for free. Take the time to read through them, and he's got a lot of gems, a lot of things that will make you stop and think, what is it that we're doing? He had some absolutely fantastic insights into our shared human experience. So that's what I've got for you today. I'm going to try and get this thing lit, see if I can keep it going. It's out. Y'all light your bowls and enjoy.